Well, Guten Tag, everybody. Welcome back to the channel in what feels like forever, but it is fitting that in a week which we've seen a wayside warrior crowned Queen of the Jungle, we too re-emerge from the wilderness. Welcome back to Fans React Friday, everybody.
You can tell this guy planned the show in advance, can't you?
Oh yes.
Did.
You've got to, it's the first one in God knows how long. We had to start off well.
We've got to keep the standards high.
Oh yes, of course, because that's what we're known for here at Fans React, is our professionalism. But what's better than a Geordie duo than a Mackem Three Musketeers, and what better roster than the boys back in town? Johnny, how are you doing, mate?
All right, not too bad. It's been equal parts, I think, relaxing, frustrating, just a little bit sad to have a bit of a break away from Sunderland and Fans React for the festivities of the World Cup to start. But it's good to be back, and it's good to be talking about Sunderland again and having games to look forward to. So can't wait to get into it.
Oh yes, it has been far too long. Ben, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm very well, mate. Very well. Not too bad. It's nice to see Johnny's headset back, and I like to see you're trying to hash there, mate. I'm liking the effort.
There's one trendsetter. There's one trendsetter in this call, all right, and I think he's right down the bottom of this screen. So,
I mean, we're just trying.
Got a little bit of way to go. Yeah, you're at the pedo stage at the minute.
Set the bar so high. We're just still trying to get to that level.
I know. I thought it's got to be brought back for this. I was going to shave it off, but I thought no.
That would have been
people want this.
I know. Especially after all that, you had to keep it just for the stream. It just had to be done.
Had to be.
But yes, we've got plenty to talk about. Not only Sunderland, we've got this little football tournament going on in the back arse of the desert. I'm not quite sure if either of you are aware about it, but I think the first place to start, as we do, as is tradition with our Fans React Fridays, is to go in chronological order, as it was technically the last game that Sunderland played. If you're not counting the friendly, it's a little trip to St Andrews just before the break. Obviously, ran out winners on Sky. It's not like us to normally get a result on Sky, but somehow we're starting to break the curse a little bit this season. Ben, I'll come to you first. Just quickly dress upon it, like what you thought on the game was, how you thought it was going into the break, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, good result away from home. It's the problem with us. Certainly before, injuries were stacking up, weren't they? And we weren't sure what was going to happen. Pritchard sort of still playing in the 10, and now Sims has come back. You could tell he made such a difference in the game. It was just the control, the ball, holding the play up and all of that. I thought it was fabulous. Something we've definitely been missing for a little while. So good to see him back. I mean, his goal, very, very well taken. Just standing on the line, once that ball got played through, he was there. There was only one outcome, really. And then Diallo, that flipping goal. I mean,
special, wasn't it?
It was absolutely incredible, and you can see now why United paid about 30-odd million for him from Atalanta. So hopefully there's no recall in January. I don't know if we're going to touch on that a bit later, because that could be a real spanner in the works if it does happen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
2-1 away from home. I think second half we slacked off a bit. You could tell Birmingham were just getting into the game, and then that, what's his name, Djukovic or something, his first goal in like 10 years or something. You're just thinking, oh, here we go. This has got 2-2 or 3-2 loss written all over it. But no, I managed to see out the game, play some nice football as well. So, which is always a bonus. But I think with the injuries we've got at the minute, 3 points away from home at the minute, I'd take it all day. So yeah, encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, taking points away from home, especially going into the break, very very important, because it's something you can hopefully build off after a nice long bit of conditioning in the desert. But we'll get to that later. Johnny, what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, much the same as Ben said. Bottom line is 3 points, and especially 3 points on the road in a very tough division. I did think Sims made a massive difference coming back in the side. Obviously, he scored the first goal, and it's just the kind of goal that you don't score if you don't have a number 9 on the pitch, isn't it? How many times have we said over the past few months? I can't think of the games off the top of my head, but if we had a striker to finish these chances, if we had a number 9 to hit somebody to get on the end of stuff, and it to be a big difference maker, which I don't think should be a surprise to anyone. And obviously, Diallo's goal was just absolutely superb. The little shimmy to work the ball onto his left foot, and then instantly to take the shot. No back there, bending it in the corner. That was a Premier League quality goal.
It was.
That was superb. And yeah, Djukovic used to play for Middlesbrough about a century ago. Proper championship journeyman striker. I think if it was going to be anyone to score, it was going to be him. But yeah, I think it was encouraging, like you said, Ben, that we kind of weathered that storm or that potential storm. We took the sting out of it a little bit, and we did play some decent stuff at times. So it's a shame that we, normally we'd be like, oh, we'll take that and build some momentum. But it was right. We'll take that result and we'll do nothing for 3 weeks. But ideal way to finish off before the break. So yeah, no complaints from me.
Yeah, like you say, it is hard to try and talk about the game, which does feel like forever, because you do want to think of, oh well, our form going into it, but it genuinely it feels longer than what it's been. It genuinely feels like it's been a good few months since we last saw Sunderland play. I genuinely feel like the break between the playoff final and Coventry felt like so short in comparison to what has literally been the group stages of the World Cup.
That's because we were all stressing out about actually having a squad to play in the Championship with, and everyone was freaking out about transfers for 3 months.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And here we are worrying about if we've got a squad to play in the Championship and transfers.
Yeah, more things change and more they stay the same.
Yeah, never change Sunderland and never change the fans, because we are a beautiful bunch, aren't we?
Look at us. We are a beautiful, Tasha's
the mustache man. Donate through Super Chat and we'll shave, I promise.
Speak for yourself.
Ben's not allowed to shave because that mustache is majestic. Look at it. It's just
donate and Ben will grow it longer. Every donation it'll keep it on for another month.
That's the amount of months I'll keep it. Yeah.
Until it's like a proper one he can twiddle like that.
Yeah.
That's the aim, all up the ear and cross it and all of them. One of the competitions where you get graded for your beard or your moustache.
Be unfair on the rest of the competition, that.
Do you reckon? I'll give them a good run.
That's true. Quick notices before we progress into the rest of the stream. Like I said earlier, congrats to Jill Scott winning that weird jungle show that I'm not quite sure who presents. And she's in the running to get Freedom of the City, apparently. So if that is to be true, that is one monumental year for her, especially coming off the back of international retirement, winning a major international trophy. I just wanted your opinion quickly because I saw this on Twitter by some people. There was a claim, and I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with it, but someone said that she is the greatest footballer that the city of Sunderland has ever produced. I just thought we could go straight off the bat and get your opinion on that.
Well, the city of Sunderland did produce a Champions League winning captain.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Female, absolutely.
Yeah, it's no question.
Come on.
Oh yeah, female, it's hands down, isn't it? There isn't another shout really. But you
do have to put in. I think if she didn't have that Euros, I don't think that claim would have been made, especially when you take into the consideration of Champions League, Premier League winner in Jordan Henderson.
Yeah,
I just thought
he's captain England as well, hasn't he? He's captain at times. Yeah, England captain, Liverpool captain, Premier League winner, Champions League winner. I think he won Player of the Season a few years ago in the Premier League as well.
Finished 10th from Steve Bruce.
Finished 10th under Steve Bruce. Yeah,
Has
yeah,
Jill Scott ever
absolutely.
done that?
As far as I'm aware, I don't think she has. So that's just end of the claim right there.
Yeah.
Mind you, I do get some of the points, because when you look at a career, 161 caps for England is astronomical, male or female. 36 more than Peter Shilton. Second most caps, male and female, behind Farrell Williams, who has 172. It's without doubt saying she's had an illustrious career, and she is definitely a role model, I think, for young women trying to get into the sport. And I think the fact that the year she's had, it's gonna. The thing we were having a conversation with earlier in uni today is that she's not. I think she's now the face of women's football, despite not even still playing.
It shines a big spotlight on it, doesn't it? When going. I mean, it's only I'm a celebrity, but it's eyes on her. It's
the exposure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because for people who don't watch sport, people are going to be like, people who might like her personality, they'll be like, oh, who's that? Oh, she used to play for England. And it just, that little domino effects just gets more publicity for her.
Yeah.
I think especially when you think about who the face of football was before, women's football was before, it could be argued that it was Steph Horton. So for the women's game, the North East is kind of, I don't want to say the word running the show, but we do have some very
it's a
big
bit of a
names.
hotbed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially with the rise of Durham women. I had to get that in there. Just have to get the Durham promo where we can. But no, I do think that she does deserve some recognition. I wouldn't say she's the best footballer to come from Sunderland, but when you're competing with what Jordan Henderson's done in his career, that's not exactly an insult to her, and it's no disrespect to her, because, like I say, she's had a great career, but so has Henderson. I saw a petition to get a mural in Monk Weymouth, and I think if that does come off, I think it would be nice for the fact what she's done in the women's game, like something along the. I don't think she's up there with Reg Carter, but I do think she does deserve something to immortalize the right word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I think you talk about the impact that she's probably made, with, obviously the Euros and all that hype sport, and, it catches a different kind of audience, with I'm a Celeb. And I mean, if you asked me before it all happened, would she win? I probably would have said no, but obviously, people who watch it, the nation are drawn to like her and love her, and certainly, like you're saying, the spirit of the women's game, certainly in the Northeast as well. She's probably one of the most recognizable female ex-players, or, just for that stature of women's football at the minute. So, if they do something for her, then, fabulous. But I think keep the other side, keep the males' attention to one side, but certainly on the female game, she's, no one comes close.
Well, I don't think it's offensive to say that men's football and women's football are different sports, because there is a very big gap in between the two. But I think for her sport, she is one of the greatest to play, especially for England. And this comment here kind of sums it up really. Like, she does represent, she has put a good representation for us Mackhams, and I think she's put tiny little quirky stuff like that on the map. So of course it's something to be proud of as a region. Other things I wanted to quickly notice. Congrats on our good friends at Roker Report for winning best club content creator for the Football League. Very well done, lads. Very much deserved.
Yeah.
And one last thing. Thank you. Quick shout out to Northeast Offers and Northeast Updates for inviting me and Matthew down for a charity event, which I will post the link to the video shoot that we did in the comments. We had a nice little Sunderland versus Newcastle 5v5 little day out. I won't spoil it for you, so you'll have to go watch it. But there was myself, Matthew. There was someone from Roker Report. There was, I believe he's called On Board Northeast. On the Newcastle team, they had the infamous Adam Pearson. So if you want to see Adam Pearson playing against Matthew Lead in bubble football. It's definitely worth a watch. That's a sentence I never thought I would say in my life. However, here we are. Let's on that bombshell, shall we move on to a little bit of World Cup talk to get us, as we are live. The Cameroon-Brazil game is going on as we speak. I don't know if you can see it through my glasses, but I have got it on behind me just in case anything happens. I can be first to report on it.
What's the priority? Get them straight down. You might as well.
I have.
I bet Johnny's got it on and all, is he?
Nah, I was going to have it on. I was going to have it on there, but I thought it might then be a little bit distracting.
And I'll be sitting here like that. Whoa, what's this going on?
Oh dear. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is actually the games that happened today. Right at the death, South Korea nicks it and progresses into the last 16. I mean, I was watching it before we went on air. It was just absolutely insane the way it all unfolded. When you think of all the teams that aren't progressing into the knockouts, people like Germany, Denmark, Belgium, Uruguay, just to name a few.
It's been a poor tournament for European teams, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's been absolutely sure. I think, to be honest, I think the Asian teams have really stepped up because everyone was kind of writing them off and they're just pulling out surprises. And we'll come on to the Germany-Costa Rica game in a bit because that is something I want to talk about for one reason or another. But Johnny, I'll come to you first. Just this has been a tournament of upsets.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You've mentioned already, Costa Rica. I mean, that group, the Germany, Spain, Costa Rica, Japan group was crazy, with lots of different permutations, like through that last game of people who could be going home and going through. Obviously the Saudi Arabia game beating Argentina. That was a really big upset. USA managing to nick a point off future champions England in the group stage was gigantic upset. I don't know how they've managed that. But yeah, it's been, because I think obviously we're not neutrals because we are England fans, but when you're sort of more of a neutral just watching the rest of the group games, it's so much more interesting when the bigger teams struggle. But I think what's been different this World Cup to a lot of other ones that I can think of is normally you'll have like a few players who are relatively unheard of, a little bit more unknown, they'll just have a standout run in the tournament, even if the team's not very good, and sort of take people by surprise, and everyone will be going, oh, maybe we should sign him, James Rodriguez in 2014 with that goal, chesting it down in off the bar. Christian Riveros, when we signed him in 2010 after his World Cup with Paraguay. But I think it's been a lot more about team performances this year. A lot of kind of really dogged, resolute performances. But long may it continue, I say, because the more of the big boys get knocked out, every little helps from an England point of view. So you get them out early doors, get them all gone, and then if we can, sneak a couple of results, could be coming home.
Well, if you thought Russia was an easy path, you might have to have a look at this. But we'll get on to that a bit later. Ben, what's been your thoughts on the World Cup so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's as interesting as a World Cup can be in the middle of December, but I think it's incredible, really. There's certainly, I think it's a lot more competitive than probably previous. Obviously we know about all the teams that have gone out, but even a lot of the other teams that you think, they've got no chance. Probably the majority of the games that I've watched, the teams have been competing against each other pretty well. Saudi Arabia, first game against Argentina, come from 1-0 down, nick it 2-1, and that's an automatic game you look at, you got it on your bet slip and you think, Argentina all day, it's bringing up a lot of surprises. Certainly good from an England perspective, obviously, the progression if it happens, but I'm not as optimistic as Johnny. I mean, all the games that I have enjoyed watching haven't involved England at all. So I think that says everything it does for me. But I'm ready to be surprised. It'd be wonderful if it comes home, but not for me.
Well, there you go.
We'll just ignore Well, ignore the prospect of who we might face in the quarterfinal. Ignore that, and then all of a sudden you might think it's coming home.
Yeah, just, ignorance is bliss, I believe the word, the term is. So, just think about it in that way. Quick score update for you. Fans react first. Switzerland are 1-0 up against Serbia, which means Switzerland are progressing at the expense of Cameroon. So, there you go. There's your little World Cup update for you. Let's talk about England. Let's stay on the note of positivity. 6-2 opening game against Iran. I don't think we could have got off to a better start. I think the USA game was kind of a wake-up call, because to go from that high all the way to what some people have described as mentally a loss to playing the Welsh, and we all know how that unfolded. So it's been an interesting group so far. Ben, I'll come to you first on how you thought England have done so far this tournament.
Pretty bang average, to be honest. I've not really been. There's been moments in games where I've thought, yeah, that was, some very nice play, but more individual brilliance more than anything. 6-2 against Iran. It's Iran. No disrespect to Iran, but the footballing caliber's just, there's no match. And then it looked like we'd used all of our decent play against Iran, and we just looked absolutely awful against the US. I think I watched the first half and I thought, you know what, I'm not bothered about this. I didn't watch the second half because it was just so poor. Allowing the US just to come on us all first half. I thought, hey, this is just not for me, so I just switched it off. But some good moments in the Wales game as well. It's, I'm happy for Rashford as well. I think he's fallen out with football a little bit with United, but certainly in that Wales game, he showed his class, that free kick. And he just seems to be playing with a bit of confidence. But, we've got the caliber of players. It's just whether, at the time on the pitch, we can do the job. I don't think we will. Southgate, not for me. But I don't know. I hope to be changed, but I'm sure you two are going to be all happy clappy. So,
well, if you want to start, if you want a happy clappy stat for you, Benjamin,
okay,
just sort of before we went on air, Gareth Southgate has won more international tournament games than any other England manager. He's won 10. So there you go.
Yeah, but what are the caliber of teams? Who are the results against? Very interested to see who they're against. And anyone we've played in the top 10, I'd like to see the results of them. That's all
I never mentioned that. I was just saying what I was told.
Hey, come on.
Bringing the Sunderland attitude to the national international game there, Ben.
I know. There's just no need for it.
I saw this thing, what was it on Twitter? One of these naff photos was like, the red and the blue pill. One saying your country wins the World Cup or your club win, the Premiership and the Champions League.
Easy call.
And I'm seeing people going, England. Am I just, for me, that's absolutely baffling how anyone would want England to win the World Cup and your club to win the Champions League and the Premier League. It's just baffling.
Absolute nonsense. The club all
day. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, as long as we all agree, that's fine. But, I know there's probably some people on this channel that would probably say England. So
you want to just check their hard drives, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm friends with these, so no comment. No. I'm just immune to all beef. No, I fully agree with you there. I think it's weird to say that, but I'm quietly confident that England will win something at some point in the near future. I don't think it's entirely ridiculous to say that. I think for the first time it actually feels like it's a possibility. And I think that the probability of England winning the World Cup in comparison to Sunderland winning the Premier League and Champions League in my lifetime, I think there's quite a significant difference.
One way.
Yeah. So I think especially for for people who support teams in the lower league, like someone like Colchester, and they're seeing England win the World Cup, I just think that's absolutely shocking, because if you are a supporter of a smaller club, surely you'd want something like a miracle to happen, like someone as small as like a little English town win the Champions League. Well, even someone like Sunderland, could you imagine, even saying it out loud, Sunderland won the Champions League? It's just...
My brain can't even like create an image of what that would be like.
Exactly.
It's such an alien concept.
So I think it has to be club all day long.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I felt happier 1-0 up at half time in the League Cup final in 2014 than I did 1-0 up at half time in the Euros in 2021.
I'm fully with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, that's very, very true. What else has happened in this? There's just so much going on in this World Cup that it's hard to just keep track of everything.
I think that's why it feels so long since the last time Sunderland played, because we've kind of fit like a month's worth of sort of football really into like a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? Even if you just watched England games, you've seen England play 3 times. Normally, you see Sunderland play 3 times, you're looking at 3 weeks. So then, you know, between all the other games in between, it's just like, how you can't even process it all. You know what I mean? I'm still thinking about games that happened like 5 days ago, because there's just too much to fit into your brain.
Well, I think the best thing to try and poise that balance of Sunderland and the World Cup. Let's talk about our friends over in Costa Rica and how they, for 3 minutes of this World Cup, the best 3 minutes of this tournament, agonizingly close to pulling off a huge shock against the Germans. But I think we all know how it ended. I think. Hello to all the German viewers watching. This will look really awkward on Sunday, won't it? So to get that out there. Yes, our star boy. He feels like he's everyone's son, Dewey Benetti. Came on, and unfortunately it wasn't to be, but I think it goes without saying, he has to be proud to be able to represent your country at 18 years old on the world's biggest stage. That is an achievement most people dream of. So the fact that he's been able to do it at such a young age is just absolutely astronomical. That being said, can he get the first plane back to England? Because we need him tomorrow.
You'll see him and his dad down the bus stop in the morning on the way to training. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
Oh dear. No, that game yesterday was just absolutely unreal. The fact that no one really knew who was safe and who wasn't. It felt like there was absolutely everything to play for. But I think the biggest talking point of those 2 games was Japan's goal and the manner in which it came about. It seems
the ball
there's
was
a lot.
For everyone who thinks it was out, it was in.
This is just what I was about to get at. There's a lot of split in the camp, let's say. But
any bloody Spaniards, it was in.
Just gonna.
I'm allowed to say that because I can speak Spanish, so that means I'm allowed to say
that there. Let you make your own decisions there.
Balls in. Balls in.
Surely.
There's nothing more to say about it, all right? The ball's in. It's hilarious for Japan to beat Spain. It's absolutely hilarious.
Well, this is the angle that everyone keeps focusing on. So just for some context on why it's split. So I've shown you the 2 angles that everyone's... Because from there, it does look out. And then obviously you look at the other...
All you need to do is, right, I'm going to have a little science lesson here, a little physics lesson. If you want to prove to yourself at home that was in, or any goal line decision like that, get a ball, any ball, but ideally a football. Go to one of the doorways in your house where you've got the little strip along the floor. Put the ball down so that it's not touching the strip, but it's just next to it, and just stand above it and look down. And if you can see the ball over top of the line, which you will,
you may like this, Jonathan.
Exactly like this. Yes, there's loads of these videos floating around. See, it looks out, and you go over it, and it's in. All right. All these people. It was out. It was out. Seen a lot of Americans on social media complaining about decisions like this at the World Cup. The ball was out. The ball was out. You can tell they didn't watch football, man, and they've only started watching because it's a World Cup. God, I think you've just unlocked something in his head. I'm getting a bit warm here.
I know, yeah.
I've missed this. I tell you what.
I tell you what it's. I tell you what it is, though, right? Any international tournament, you get it, or like even on Derby Day when if we used to play Newcastle or whatever, and everyone who like comes for the day out and just sort of like wants to get a bit involved. It's like a conveyor belt of the worst football takes you'll ever hear in your life, all concentrated at once. Like in the Euros final when I can't remember which defender it was, but the Italian defender just pulled Saka back in the last minute. And you have people on social media calling for red cards and hanging and corporal punishment. It's like, it's just a tactical foul. Chill out, man. You get them and they see something like the ball's just about in for the cut back for the goal, and it's bloody World War III, and you're like,
you do get a lot of
football,
high horses in international tournaments. It does go without saying.
Always.
I never feel like more of an elitist than when it's like international tournament time and you see all these people and you just think, I know so much more about this sport than you do.
Well, just think about that Lampard goal and how that just if Twitter was in the height of what it is now in 2010.
I remember like even just hearing people saying like asking for video technology just because of that goal. Could you imagine the outrage on social media?
Yeah.
You have people
how far we've come since then. It is the sport in general. It's just
it feels like a different game sometimes, doesn't it? With the semi-automated offsides and VAR and everything. It is a different game.
The thing inside the ball now to see whether there's a
to see whether
contact with the ball, which segues us brilliantly into our next point. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh.
This is definitely. I think that this has to be a Stonewall unanimous decision that he made no contact here.
Of course he didn't.
See, right, we're working with intellectuals here. Good.
Yeah. You can always tell, like when they put up that much of a fuss. Like, I definitely scored. I definitely did. You just know he didn't.
Yeah.
Like that's the only reason he's complaining that much.
It's like if you were that confident that you scored it, you wouldn't be you wouldn't be so defensive about it. You'd just be like, especially if you've scored the amount of goals that he has, that surely is like, it brings me back to Harry Kane versus Stoke. It was like, it's not going to be your last goal in football. You can give up one. It was never yours to begin with.
The only thing I'll slightly say in defence of that sort of behaviour from strikers, I mean any player really, but especially strikers, is to be that good, you probably have to have it instilled in you almost like from birth, like that single-minded sort of pursuit of goals. Like obviously every top player has that mindset for like improvement and whatever their particular position is. But if you're a striker, you live and you die by your number of goals. So I can see why they want it so bad, but he didn't touch it.
But that's not how football works.
No, it would be more of a goal for Brill Cream than it would be for Cristiano Ronaldo or that.
Brill Cream.
I feel like I've just shown me age of it there, saying Brill Cream.
Where have you pulled that one from?
I think he probably earns enough, so he doesn't have to buy.
You think I'm sullying my beautiful locks with Brill Cream? Get out of here. It's VO5 or go home, boys. All right?
VO5.
There we are now. Everyone, if you wanted to know what Johnny uses on his hair,
if you want to look like Johnny Hawley,
then all you need to do is get nowhere near enough sleep, have an awful skincare routine, and use VO5. And you'll also look like this. Yeah.
No, I think Ultra Edge Flatline. It was always going to be a
Ultra Edge. third umpire review.
Yeah. You're on screen now.
No noises. The ball passes the hair. We'll go back to the referee on the field.
I'm going to have to ask you to overturn your decision and award the goal to
Ronaldo.
You're on screen now.
Yeah.
No. What other upsets is there? Oh yes, Belgium. I think Belgium has to be talked about. The fact that if I was Lukaku's family, I don't think I'd ever let him back in the house after that performance against Croatia the other day. It was just, dare I say it, Josie Altidore scores those. Will Grigg scores those. I think the two in mind is where he hits the post and then headers an open goal. He misses an open goal with a header. It's just, I think Belgium has been probably the most underwhelming team for me in terms of expectations, especially when you think it's the real last tournament of their so-called golden generation, and all they have really to show about for it is third place in Russia. It's I don't know, it just feels like a lot of wasted potential when you think about who's going to still be in that team come Germany in a few years' time. It's just, I don't know, it just feels like we were promised something so great, and then all of a sudden they've just absolutely honked up the place.
It's very England in the sort of early mid-2000s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a team
on paper. On paper, I mean, De Bruyne, Lukaku, name's totally gone away. Courtois, you know, even like Vertonghen, Alderweireld. You know, they've had like quite a long list of names, and that's just, you know, the ones off the top of my head of really talented, you know, quality footballers. I mean, Dries Mertens is another one. They've had plenty in and around, and I mean, in De Bruyne, one of the best players like on the planet. But if you can't marry that up to a good team and like a cohesive unit, you're just not going to win anything. It's as simple as that.
Definitely a big difference between a team of individual stars and an actual good team, because you can see that morale with not world class players can take you very far in a tournament. Just think of I want to say Denmark, but Denmark do have good players. I'm thinking more of Wales in Euro 2016. Like, they didn't have by far the greatest team on paper, but that spirit brought
Greece in Euro 2004. Ghana, even when they went out the World Cup in 2010 to that infamous Luis Suarez moment.
Well, who's laughing?
I mean, the bottom line is they're counting on Roberto Martinez to lead that golden boy generation. I mean, you know, you're fighting a losing battle before you start.
Hey, he won an FA Cup with Wigan Athletic. No, you've never heard that one.
Did he have, Dom? That's where I want to go. He probably had more, didn't he?
He's definitely got more relegations than he has international trophies with a golden generation, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's true. It's
imagine De Bruyne listening to him when you go from Pep at City, one of the best tactical, masterminded managers, you know, of the generation, and you go and play for your country and you've got flipping Roberto Martinez. Come here, get the ball there.
And then, a 20 stone Eden Hazard sat on the bench, like creaking every time he sits down. He must be looking around thinking like, somebody bring Haaland back, please. I'm begging you. I can't be pinging balls into these donkeys.
Honestly.
Well, Aruna Kone said he was a great coach. Nice blow. Nice blow.
You can find people who think Simon Grayson and Phil Parkinson are good managers, but it doesn't really mean anything, does it?
We'll give Lee Johnson the Belgian job.
He'd do a better job.
I'd love to see Lee Johnson at the World Cup. How funny.
I would love to see a fly on the wall documentary thing where you've just got Lee Johnson talking about pomos and Bomb Alley to Kevin De Bruyne. Like, please, somebody make that happen.
If he was Costa Rica manager for the Spain game, he definitely would have said, "We won that, boys. Don't worry, there's positives to take on that." If you can't tell, Bolton still hurts.
I just want to say one more thing quickly before we move on from that, though. When we were talking about Belgium there, it just sort of made us think when you said that you can't really see Belgium doing anything in another tournament after this, like this was kind of their last chance. I think that's kind of the opposite of that is why it's easy to be optimistic as an England fan, because whereas in that golden generation team, it's very much there's a great player in every position, but then nobody else. You look at the England team, I mean, even the subs that we've made just in the group stage so far, you know, if things aren't working up front, we've got like Phil Foden, one of the best players in the Premier League, to call on off the bench. Or we've got Saka, again, one of the best players in the Premier League. We've got, young players. Jude Bellingham is 19. The goalkeepers are all of a decent age where they've still got at least a tournament, if not 2 or 3, depending, left in them. So yeah, Harry Kane's coming relatively towards the end of his career, but there's still a lot of strength in depth, which is also why I think Brazil look really good. Because if you look at their bench, sometimes how is that even possible?
Their bench
ridiculous.
Win the World Cup as it is. Never mind the 11 that they actually got to choose on the pitch.
And the fact that France basically are playing a second string 11 with the amount of injuries they've got, and they still look pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what separates the great nations from the.
It only took world class Wabi Kazri to break down the French. In fairness, so you do have to put it into perspective, what you've been working with here.
There's a weird number of ex-Sunderland players at this World Cup. I think
there always is, though. There always is.
I think I just kind of forget because there's so long between each World Cup. But
how is Sebastian Coates?
How is Sebastian Coates still a footballer?
Toivonen was at Russia.
Toivonen, like you say. Yeah. I mean, we've seen Josie in tournaments after he left us. I swear there's another Brian Oviedo for Costa Rica. Yeah. What's going on there?
Yeah. I'd love to think that Oviedo's kind of took Dewey under his wing.
No, keep him as far away from him as possible.
No. I won't have a bad word said about Brian Oviedo. Nice bloke.
He was all right for us. He was. He
had
a great Johnny.
He came in on the slide, but still, the smell of relegation sticks. All right, I don't want it infecting Dewey.
I think the only thing with Oviedo is he could have buggered off when everybody else did.
Yeah,
but he didn't, and he stayed. And
huge respect for that.
And he put in a couple of good shifts and scored some cracking goals. I think there was one against QPR or something. I
think if I'm remembering rightly, I think he put the ball in where the first day against Charlton, first season in League One. Oh, the last minute header, Gooch.
He did.
I think he swung the ball in. Yeah, so you've convinced us. I'll give him that one.
Well, there you go. That's how easy it is to convince Johnny. You did push over.
No, it's not the fans react where I should dig down in my position and never change.
No, it's not. Last little talk about the World Cup before we move on. Although we've seen Dewey, unfortunately, have to pack his bags early, there is still a Mackem in Qatar in the form of Bailey Wright, how by some miracle has progressed in a team in a group that had Denmark, who have, can I just say once again, royally ruined expectations as a team. But it's good to see that Australia have. I don't know if you saw the video of what Melbourne Square looked like at 3:00 in the morning, but it is absolute carnage. It was just
some commitment that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's not quite, it's not quite tens of thousands at Trafalgar Square, but
yeah, that's true. I don't know why they'd be in Trafalgar Square, but that's
you cheeky. It's a good place to watch football, I think. That's no other reason.
You love us, really. Anyways, should we from international football? Let's get back to club football, shall we? And quickly address the warm weather training in Dubai we've had with the squad who hasn't been in Qatar. We had the little issue of a game against Al Shabab, 1-0. Firstly, before we go into that, did either of you watch this? Because honestly, I didn't. Okay, good, brilliant. Because I don't actually know anyone who did, but apparently Diallo scored and Gooch had a fight. So that's all.
Apparently, Sartori went on the pitch at one point as well, trying to calm things down.
Oh, beautiful.
I think they were saying, I think it might have been when Gooch had the fight, everyone kind of had a bit of argy-bargy. But I didn't watch the game because I was a bit busy, at work, earning a living.
Having better things to do.
Small things that get in the way of football, you know what I mean? I much prefer the English schedule of 7:45 on a midweek, not 1:00 in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that has been positives to take from our little trip to Dubai. Firstly, Luke 09 content, which is just what you love to say.
Big time.
And news on Loch Ness Drogba. Stewart is agonizingly close. There is rumours that he'll be involved tomorrow. Whether that is
I don't see it
true,
myself,
I don't see it either. But whether Mowbray thinks it's the right call, we'll just have to wait and see.
I believe what Mowbray actually said was, didn't he say that in Stewart's mind he's fit, but from the club's point of view, they want to be a bit more cautious and ease him into it a bit more, give him another week in training.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how many times have we seen players say that they're fit and then it's just gone south from there? So,
not to mention as well, I think I've mentioned it on these shows before. Mowbray in particular seems like a really, really cautious manager with injuries. When Sims got injured initially, what the noises coming out were a week, 2 weeks, miss a couple of games, get back in. But then we saw that he delayed bringing him back and then phased him in, and it looked to have worked really, because he hasn't broke down and had a reoccurrence, and then the game that he's fully back involved, he gets a goal against Birmingham. So I think it's frustrating, but I think we've got to trust Mowbray if he doesn't put him in.
Well, yeah, you have to trust the process, because when you think about how badly it could go if we jump, especially how the season's unravelled since September, we've just been absolutely plagued with injuries. So it's really not worth the risk. But sticking on Stewart, I think the elephant in the room is the contract situation. From what I've heard, I've asked a few Sunderland fans about this. They are not hopeful that we're going to get the deal done. Ben, I'll come to you first on your thoughts on the whole Stewart situation. How do you see it?
See, now, me and my dad were talking about this the other day, and it was... I'm a bit torn, to be honest. I think if he wanted to sign the contract, if he wanted to stay, he probably would have done it already. As soon as that new contract got offered to him, he would have said, "You know what? I love it here. I'm the main man. Everyone's shouting my name in the stadium. Give me a nice pay increase. Fabulous. Sign it. Would have been done. Would have been announced." There's something with this delay for me that's just saying, it's giving me Josh Madger sort of stuff at the minute.
Yeah.
And I do have a feeling he might go in January. I think it's got to be the right price. Absolutely, because I don't think we'll sell him otherwise. I mean, today's transfer market, what could you put a price tag on him for?
I mean, you could say 10 million, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could easily be 10 mil for Ross Stewart. But obviously, I'd be very sad to see him go. He's done a fantastic job coming in, for when White left. But this is part of the whole system that we're going to have now. Is, I know he's not young. I mean, what is he, 25, 26 or something? Yeah. He's not young, but the whole point with our system at the minute is we build these players up. When they're ready, we sell them for a good price. And I think that's probably what we're just going to have to get used to. Obviously, he's a fantastic striker, don't get me wrong. And I'd be very sad if he left. But, in the grand scheme of things, like hot fuzz, for the greater good.
The greater good.
Exactly. And that's what Spigman will be thinking, We're thinking, can I get 10 million here and invest that back into the squad to then be more, and even get, maybe spend 5-6 million on that in a striker in January. So I think, it's, I'm a bit on the fence really, but obviously, it'll be sad, but it's just part of what's going to be happening at Sunderland now. We can't get too attached with these players, which is sad because I do love to get attached. It still breaks me when Sessegnon went. He was my
what a player.
What a player. But it's football. It's a business. We've got to make money, and players make a considerable amount of money for obviously for higher teams than us at the minute in the Premier League and whatever. But it's it's a touchy subject. I think I don't know what you two fellas
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It is a
if he was here in January.
very, very touchy subject. But like you say, football is a business, and the whole model of modern football now is they get these talents that the undiscovered talent, and for cheap, and sell them off for a huge profit. And when you think about it, anything is a profit on Ross Stewart. So obviously you do want to get the most money you can for him, because there is a player in there. There's no denying that at all. He has been our one of our shining lights in the last 2 seasons. So obviously you want to keep him, but if you have a good price tag for him, I do think if invested wisely, why not? That's what it's down to me for. It's where does that money go in getting a replacement? I don't know how you feel about it, Johnny.
I agree with much of what you both said. I think, like Ben drew the parallel with the Josh Maja situation. I think obviously there is a comparison to be drawn, but the thing that makes me feel slightly better about it is in the Maja situation, the power was completely 100% in the player and agent's hands, because it was a flat situation of 6 months left, no extension, no nothing is like built in. We were at our absolute lowest ebb. I imagine the player and his agent would have had some idea of the fact that we had no money. So like we weren't really in a strong position. Whereas now there is that 12-month extension clause that we can trigger, which would obviously then leave him with only a year left in the summer. So it's not great. But, you know, it does leave open the possibility of keeping him till the end of the season at least, and then maybe trying to get a fee for him and reinvesting, or even something like, you know, if maybe kind of make a bit of a gentleman's agreement with Stewart to say, look, stay to the summer, you know, then we'll let you go to a team offering the right price.
Whoa.
If that is the situation, I'd like to see us be proactive though, because while yes, we do need to accept that we'll be a selling club, and you know we'll be looking to move players on, it's not just about maximising the value on the balance sheet. It's about getting a good value while also producing a competitive team. Because if you don't have a competitive team, you can have all the money in the world, but you know, bank accounts don't win football matches. Footballers win football matches. I would like to see us maybe invest that money almost in advance in January and bring somebody in, because if Stewart did go, we've got Ellis Sims, who's on loan, and then under 23s. Yeah. Whereas when Charlie White went, Ross Stewart had been at the club for 6 months already. So he's had that time to bed in and you know, get his head around it and find his feet a little. Because, I mean, his record wasn't great for us in the games that he did play until Charlie White left. And then he really sort of, you know, he's exploded into life and he's, you know, scored 100,000 goals since then, and we all love him. But yeah, for me, I can take selling him even in January, A, for the right price, but B, like you said, Dom, the money has to be invested wisely. And it's not just about literally who you buy, it's also when you make that decision, you know, how... It's just, there's a lot of things to consider, and I worry sometimes that in football things kind of get simplified down to, you know, black and white. You know, he either stays or he goes, and we sign someone or we don't, and we're great or we're shit. You know, realistically, there's a lot more to it. And with the Stewart situation, I think it'll be interesting. I share the concerns that he'll leave, because, like you said as well, Ben, it's just a delay more than anything is a problem. Like you said, if somebody loves it there and they're the main man and they want to stay, normally they just put the contract in front of them and just sign it without even looking, really. Yeah. But yeah, I'm quietly confident that we'll replace him well if and when he does go. But just that little undercurrent of like Sunderland fan energy that just makes you just worry that it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, you do have to, like you say, you have to admit that you can't get attached to players as much as it goes without saying. He's loved by us because, well, why wouldn't he? Like the stats say enough why we love him. But
and he's got a great chant, which goes a long way towards making me love a player.
Yeah, well, then there you go.
Speaking of Sessegnon before,
nothing beats that chant. I'm sorry. Nothing beats that. I just want to hop into the comments quickly before we get back onto the Stewart situation. I want to just what David Joblin said. Ross Stewart will be gone in January. Bad directors, and then followed up with bad directors. The club's a shambles in the transfer market, and I just want your opinion on that. We'll stay with you, Johnny, for this.
Do you really want my opinion?
Yes, I do. I really want your opinion.
Give it to us right now.
I can't. How can I do this again? Look,
show me the money.
Look,
no, just give us the short.
Look, listen, David. No, I'm joking.
Give us the radio.
The radio.
edit.
Look, without wanting to sound like a broken record, all right. The club have obviously, if you've been supporting someone for any length of time, the club have made a lot of mistakes in a lot of ways for since before any of us were born. That's true. So it's hard to trust them when you've seen where it can lead you. But all you have to do is look at this, when this ownership group / recruitment team, whoever you want to call it, behind the scenes, since they came in, what have we achieved? Well, we've got out of League One, which was a bare minimum, but they've achieved it, which a lot of other sets of behind the scenes teams haven't. So we got out of League One. It's only mid-season, but we look like we're starting to stabilise in the Championship. We look like a competitive side. We don't look outclassed. We're beating teams. We're getting draws. We're losing games. It's a fairly sort of standard Championship season, which, if you cast your mind back to just before the playoffs and just after, all the talk was about they couldn't even finish in the top 2 in League One. This is a League One side playing in the Championship come the opening couple of games. So we've come out of League One. We're stabilising in the Championship. We are under new ownership than the bloody clowns before, with the salmon-coloured trousers and the techno music for kickoff.
Liz Truss's best mate.
Christ. We're signing young, exciting, ambitious players who, look at Dennis Serkin, you look at bringing our own players through, Dan Neil getting a lot of minutes from the academy, Patterson, bringing in Ballard, who, hopefully we'll see again soon. You look at the loans that we brought in. I mean, Amad Diallo looks absolutely fantastic. It's a real coup to be able to bring, even on your loan, just to be able to have him at the club is a big step up from where we were for the past 5 years. And again, just to remind people, it is 5 years since we were last in the Championship, half a decade, and we've got to remember that.
There's children in the Roker and younger than that.
Literally, there are young Sunderland fans around today
who've never seen us play in the Premier League.
Who've never seen us play in the Premier League, and some of them wouldn't have seen us play in the Championship until they come to the first game this season.
Yeah.
So I think to look at that and call it a shambles, it's just a level of pessimism that I can't get behind. Like, look at some of the clubs in this league and the league below, and you'll see shambles. I mean, Wigan look extremely questionable.
They just brought in Kolo Toure.
I mean, if we'd signed Kolo Toure as manager, just imagine what the reaction would have been. You look at Charlton, they've had an absolute basket case for a few years. You look at Birmingham, they had, owner who was using like fake identities and like shadow men to run the club behind the scenes. I think
no further than Derby County.
Derby County, exactly. I mean, the list goes on. To look at our lot and call them a shambles, and that's come on.
To be honest, I'm quite a big fan of the model right now of trying to be a young, exciting squad, and like, is it the over 23 rule of not signing anyone,
not paying any fees for players over that age? I think it was, wasn't it?
I think I wouldn't say outstanding, but I think it is a very good model to start off a tenure. I think it took a while, like a full season, to kind of get the model into shape, but I think it's a good thing when you think about he who must not be named and the fact that he was trying to bring in Jayden Stockley and folk like that.
Well, remember in the Premier League under David Moyes, Stephen Pienaar, Victor Anichebe, Julian Lescott.
You're basically paying for relegation. Is what we're trying to say.
But it was just Moyes getting all his mates together for a payday before pissing off. And you look at that and you look at where we are now. I just don't. It's
just think of the young players we've got in the squad right now. It is as much as results haven't been fantastic per se, it is an exciting time player-wise because we do play, I think, some very nice football sometimes.
Oh yeah. At
Like,
times in games this season, we're playing football that's better than stuff that I've seen even when we were in the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, it's a few people have said this actually, that it's not until the international break that I've appreciated how good Diallo is. And like in games, I kind of just like he's kind of there. And I'm just like, well, to quote Roy Keane, that's his job. And then I've watched the highlights back, and I've been like, wow, like he is a sensational footballer. It is just,
but not even just him. Like, it's easy to single him out because he's got a lot of individual quality. But
yeah,
like you said, like it's not until you get a bit of time to look back and reflect. And I saw, I think it was a compilation video of like all of our goals in the first part of the season, and you see some of the back, like the goals at Reading. You know, that one that won goal of the month. You look at that back and you just think like, I don't recognise this team. Who is this team playing this free-flowing football, like involving what was it, like 8 players touch the ball and they're moving all the way from back to front and finishing it off like that. There's been, obviously that was a standout one, but there's been a few like that this season where you kind of sit back and look and think, if this wasn't Sunderland, I'd be going, bloody hell, these look good. Like, I'd be thinking, I don't want to play these.
Yeah, that being said, Speakman did kill the Queen though, so like you do have to.
Well, if Speakman hadn't let in that 92nd minute equaliser for QPR by the goalkeeper, we would have been a lot better off in the table.
And
I can't believe he got Dan Neil sent off against Sheffield United. No, why did he do that?
The best inside joke of the season. But Ben, what was your opinion on the directors and the whole model, the philosophy of Sunderland FC right now?
I mean, Johnny's just given an absolutely fabulous speech, 6 minutes long, explaining that, and I don't disagree with anything. You know, I think Johnny's done a very good job of covering all things. I think, you know, you've just, you know, look at the state we were in. I think people look like they're forgetting 4 or 5 seasons ago where we were in League One. You know, Tom Flanagan at the back.
Yeah,
you know, we've come a long way.
Said.
Yeah, honestly, you know,
and he's not even the worst, is he?
He's not, and that's, you know, he actually had, you know, he was a good servant for us for that time, you know. But if, you know,
again, nice bloke.
He is, yeah.
That just sums up the League One
always
years.
Win your football game.
That sums up the League One years. Really done. It's just nice bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice bloke, but yeah, thanks for your job, but
thanks for coming. Like, get out now.
Can't wait for him to score in January now. Thanks for that foreshadowing now.
Yeah, well, he's an ex-Sunderland player. He's nailed on to score against us no matter what we say on here.
So is Aidan. Actually, we'll get into Aidan O'Brien in a bit.
But you know, a few years ago, even before, you know, Donald and Medtham came in, you know, all this stuff with Ellis Short, you know, there was talk of liquidation at one point and going into administration, you know, and you think, well, you know, we've come from there. We had to start from the bottom, and we did. You know, Donald and Medtham, you know, they served a purpose for a time. Yes, their ideas and input was questionable, but at the end of the day, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't have been where we are now. But be able to be looking back at that and thinking, actually, where we were in that era with them two, and now where we are now, the fact that we're attracting players like Jack Clark, who wants to play football, he wants to sign for Sunderland, and we've done that. Patrick Roberts, he wants to sign for Sunderland. Ahmed Diallo, he wants to come in on loan. You know, Sims, one of, you know, the better of Everton's 2 strikers on loan currently in the Championship. He's come to Sunderland. You know, Dan Ballard had a great season with Millwall, great young player. You know, Arsenal, all of this. Yeah, I'll come to Sunderland. Even Adji Elisa, you know, I've got loads of friends that are West Ham, and they said, we cannot believe that we've just let him go for like pennies, 500,000. He said he was nailed on to be a starter in a couple of years' time. All these young talent that we're bringing in, and people saying that the regime is, bad directors. Not for me. Not for me. I don't
And for
agree
me,
with it.
Clive.
I think it's just you said one of the things you said there really I think just encapsulates it all is that we're attracting players who want to come and play football.
Yeah.
We're now seen as an option.
And how long has that not been the case, Johnny?
Yeah.
Exactly. We're in the Premier League, we were seen as, well, Sunderland will take us and they'll pay us 30 grand a week.
Yes, exactly.
In the Championship, as I'll sign for Sunderland because they're big, but not really bothered. I don't care if they stay up or not.
They're going to pay me money what I was getting earned anyway, just to
exactly. In League One, it was I'll come to Sunderland and then they'll get us up to the Championship and then I'll just piss off. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think we're looked at as actually a footballing project, and
taken seriously.
Exactly, it's players want to come to us to improve their careers by playing for us rather than just ticking off Sunderland on the CV and moving on.
Yeah. Well, apparently, winning 2 games at the beginning of the season is good enough to think that we just deserve automatic promotion. And I might get some stick for this, but I might not. But I think the fact that I do think that a lot of the fan base forget where we've come from a lot, the fact that I think I've said this about 5 different Fans Ref Fridays. We were the worst team in the league on paper, purely because we finished 5th in League One.
Yeah.
So we had no right to and we even said in the first one of the season, if we come in the top 12, I'd rip your hand off for that.
Yeah.
And here we are. What are we, 15th?
I think if we win tomorrow, we could potentially go as high as 10th. Yeah.
10th, yeah.
Which if you told me that we'd be able to go 10th in December, I would have took that all day. But the fact that we were playing exciting football at the beginning of the season, that was just oh, well, we've got to go up now because we're Sunderland. It doesn't, believe it or not, that's not how football works.
It's not played in stadium sizes. It's not played on history. It's played on 11 players against 11 players.
It's these are 2 completely different situations, but it's the exact same thing of why everyone was upset with the Super League. It's because you don't get success based off merit. No, you earn it. Sorry, you don't get it because of who you are.
Yeah,
you get it because you've deserved it. And I think it goes well. So we're not ready to go up yet. If we go up, it will be terrible.
We'll come straight back down.
Yeah, we need time to get used to the Championship first, and then when we're ready, we'll go up. Because we'll know when we're ready, and we're definitely not ready now.
The big positive of having such a young squad as well, and why this transfer model can be as effective as it can be, if obviously if you sign the right players, is you sign them young and then maybe you sell them on for a lot of money. But if we keep improving, these players will improve along as the seasons progress. So this season we're not ready to go up, but who says if we don't keep the squad together and add a couple of decent additions that maybe next year or the year after, all of a sudden maybe Dennis Serkin is ready to have a go at the Premier League. Maybe Dan Ballard's ready to have a go at the Premier League. Maybe Dan Neil looks like can make the step up. And then rather than taking a team of 29-year-olds into the Premier League, who because you can do that. You can sign a load of experienced players who are all good. You have a good season, bang, you go up. But then the next season, they're going to be equally as talented, if not worse. Whereas if you've got a young, hungry squad, then it's always just going to be about the improvement. And then if and when you do get the opportunity to go up, then you can make a really decent go of it, rather than relying on, crap, we've got promoted. We need to sign 15 players like Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. It's so frustrating because, like I say, you need to remember where we've come from, and we've got people going on about stuff like relegation. I think we haven't had a terrible season. Yes, we've only won a handful of games, but in almost all of our games, yes, there's been standout games where we've looked atrocious. But in the vast majority of games, we've looked convincing enough, and we haven't looked exactly out of it.
No,
the fact that people are calling for the head of Speakman and for other people in the hierarchy in Mulberry. It just
don't make us do that.
It makes no sense, and people are saying that oh, we're X amount of points off the drop, and Coventry's starting to win games, so we're in trouble. We're playing Millwall tomorrow, and we're only 4 points behind them, and they're in the playoffs. Like, there is really no need to panic at all.
We've won as many as we've lost. Won 7, drawn 6, lost 7. Like that's a completely normal mid-table record.
Like
I'm all nothing to panic about.
I'm all for people having like their own opinion because it's their right to have their opinion. But like when they're making outlandish comments like, "Oh, we look destined to go down" and stuff like that, it's just give your head a shake. Do you know what I mean? It's like nothing about this club at this moment of time speaks alarm bells, and the fact that so much negativity around the camp, so much it's ridiculous because this is statistically this is our best season in 6 years.
Yeah.
On paper, in 6 seasons of football, this is our greatest by a landslide.
God, now I feel sad.
And people are unhappy. It makes no sense.
I do think though a lot of it's not like a Sunderland specific thing though, is it? Like it's a lot of, and I hate to say it because I sound like my dad, but a lot of modern football fans. Like this, you know, call us a boomer or whatever you want, but like in this age of social media and instant reactions to everything and, you know, engagement and stuff, it's very, very easy to lose a game or two. And then all you see on your social media is like, you know, negative opinions and this guy out and that guy out, and they're getting hundreds of likes and retweets and whatever, thousands, you know, engagements. And it's very easy for that to just get amplified and just blows out of proportion. And, you know, the people who shout the loudest get the most attention. So I think every fan base has this, you know, selection of knee-jerkers, shall we say, who, you know, like to sort of swing wildly from we're great to where we are terrible and we're getting relegated, and then we're great again and we're going to go up. And but it's just frustrating, isn't it, when you've come off the back of such a grueling period in League One to then have, you know, loads of your own fans every week finding things to complain about. It's just like, guys, come on.
The one thing that annoyed me the most is after the Cardiff game. Yes, I'll just say it, I'll get this straight out of the way. We were terrible that game, absolutely terrible. But I sit in the Roker end, and as I was come down from my seat at full time, and the players were going around applauding. The whole, like, a vast majority of the Roker end was booing the players, and to be honest, it really annoyed me. Like, yes, you're allowed your own opinion. You pay your money. You come to see the football, and you're allowed to be upset. But come on, like. We've like we've said earlier, it's not been a bad season. Yes, we're going to have the odd game where we look atrocious, and to be honest, I'm surprised it was just 1-0 for Cardiff. I think it could have easily been more. But booing the players when, like, they do give their all, even though sometimes it won't seem that way. They do play for us, and we do have a very good team. It just stuff like that just really annoys, isn't it? Like. It makes you wonder, it's like, am I not seeing something here? Or like, have I got like heavily tinted positive glasses? Or like, did we watch like 2 separate seasons of football? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think
it's just like,
certainly with our fan base, I mean, it probably goes with others as well, don't get me wrong, but we can be very narrow-minded sometimes. And this is what we're seeing. People are just thinking, oh, they're turning up to the match. Yeah, we've gotten beat, you know, I don't know, drawing 0-0 with Preston and Blackpool, for example. You're thinking, oh, an absolute shite, you know, all this with Cardiff as well, 4-2 against Burnley, you know. But they, you know, they're forgetting where we've come from and what we're trying to do now. You know, we're a building club at the minute. That's what we are. We're in a process, you know, like we say. Hashtag
you've got to trust it.
Because if you don't, all you'll be doing is being flipping negative every week. Said, "Oh, we were shite," you know, we're getting relegated. If we were in Wigan or Rotherham's position, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Warne leaving Rotherham for Derby, that just speaks volumes to me.
When Derby's seen as an attractive option by comparison, it's a worrying position.
Regardless of league status, the setup that they've got there, he obviously preferred and thought, you know what, he sees potential there and not Rotherham. For me, Rotherham, they're destined for the drop. I can't see anything else. Wigan, they're in the same place for me.
Unless Colo's like the second coming of Zidane, I
don't see it.
No. So
I think that was just a PR stunt, if I'm honest. Very something Sunderland would do, actually.
Well, he could turn out to be a good manager, but it's a bloody big gamble.
It is. It is.
And I think, like you said there, Ben, obviously, hashtag trust the process. But, on a serious note, you are right that it's you only have to look, a few years back to when we were in the Premier League, and every season we felt like a completely different club. One season, even going back to Bruce, you've got Bruce and he's calling all the shots on transfers and he's running everything his way. Then all of a sudden O'Neill comes in and by all accounts, he wasn't always at training. He didn't have his assistant with him that he normally had through his career. And then, things are different again. And we look like we're going in a different direction. And then Di Canio comes in, who's completely mental. And then we get a director of football who's Ellis Short's mate's son. And then that all gets sacked off and Gus Poyet comes in. Then we get a different director of football. Yeah. Then he goes, and then, we've got Advocat, and then we've got Allardyce, and then we've got Moyes, and then we've got Grayson, and then we've got Coleman, and we've got a director of football. Oh, wait, no, we don't. Or we do again, or no, we've got a different one. And then it just all adds up to just complete chaos behind the scenes. There's no wonder we became such a mess towards the end because, being sort of short-term fixing it for about 6 years, really, by the time the end.
Yeah. Wait, oh, no, I'll let you go on.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, the point you brought up with the fact that we feel like a different club, like, every season. Even the last few games of the 15-16 season and the first few of the 16-17 season, they're
it was just night
two completely different clubs. And it was, like, a space of, like, a few months, if that. And it was like watching two completely different football clubs.
It's like Jan Kirchhoff was like literally like a different footballer from end of one season to beginning of the next. It was like he completely just, I don't know who was wearing his shirt because it wasn't him.
Yeah,
and I mean
it was the one who played for Spurs on the in his debut. That was it was that Jan Kirchhoff.
If there's ever a bloody example of when not the right players off after one game. That was one of them because he was stinking.
He was, yeah.
That was money well spent. Nice bloke.
If he didn't have so many trouble with injury that he did,
he would have still been playing for Bayern Munich, wouldn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of us, like.
Even alarm bells ringing, thinking, why Bayern Munich letting him come to us?
Yeah.
Same as it's the same as when we signed Donald Love and Paddy McNair from Man United, and everyone was a bit like,
we're like, hang on,
if they're any good, why are we getting them?
I mean,
look where Donald Love is. You look where Paddy McNair is.
Well, McNair can't get in the Borough team.
I mean, where is Donald Love playing now? I actually don't know.
Was he not?
Was he at Shrewsbury?
Oh no, Shrewsbury. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know if he's still there.
Well, weren't they both playing in the team when we beat them 2-1 at the Stadium Light? Weren't they both
Man United?
Yeah.
When we beat them.
I know
Love plays.
I know McNair was playing.
Well, yeah, both McNair and Love were playing, and then recruitment were like, "Yep, those two. We'll have them. Thank you very much."
It's just so questionable from us.
I know, it's just so all over. But what can you say? We just want the best for SAFC, and that
we love Sunderland, and we also hate Sunderland, but we do love
get the
Sunderland.
rave on.
It is.
And thank you very much.
Just also, get the rave on, by the way. A little shout out to Pickford at the World Cup, who's predictably playing really well and looks absolutely at home in a major tournament once again. What a boy.
What a boy. Washington's finest, I heard.
Oh, hi.
Speaking of getting the rave on, congrats to Dave the Rave getting engaged. I just want to throw that out. Remind everyone that Dave the Rave is engaged. All the best for you. And let us do a live stream at your wedding.
Good luck to his fiance.
Let us do Fancy F Friday live from your wedding.
I'll even sing for you. I'll sing for you, Dave.
all three of us, we could be like a little macho band with our mustaches.
Yeah.
A little mariachi band.
Yeah.
I think we just talked ourselves into and then out of that gig.
Yeah.
That
was a roller coaster of 5 seconds. That.
Some mental images that nobody needed at this time on a Friday night.
No.
Before we get on to tomorrow's game, quickly address our FA Cup draw against Shrewsbury. We're a little trip down memory lane, you could say, back to the League One days. And Aidan O'Brien seems happy enough to be given the opportunity to play us again. He will. You know it's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to get injured and not play, or he's going to play the best game of his life, like Chris Maguire-esque.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting one. But the thing I want to talk about is how agonizingly close we were to getting our noisy neighbours in the cup. We were one ball away from getting Newcastle.
I'd quite like to never see that happen.
Yeah.
I've got better things to do with my time than watch us get absolutely tonked by a team with 100 million billion bajillion quid.
Yeah.
I've seen Premier League.
I've seen a lot of Sunderland fans actually asking for them in the cup, and to be honest, that was actually word for word.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I actually prefer, nice memories of winning derbies, and if we lose a derby, that kind of throws that all out the window.
It does.
It's funny to see Alex Bass scoring against them in the 23s.
Yeah. That's all fun and games. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't need to take it seriously. Come on now. That's like, especially if it was at home, that would really that would hurt me deep down, getting front row seats to that.
Yeah.
But
to be honest, I mean, I don't care if we crash out the FA Cup in the first game here.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good cup run, I must admit. I think last season when we got as far as we did in the Carabao, I was absolutely loving it. But league has to be priority in every season, I think.
And No, you go on.
I was saying it's not that we have really that much to play for in mid-table, but at the same time, it's like you do want to solidify our place in the league, so no risks really.
Yeah, I mean it's extra games when we've already struggled with injuries, and plus, I mean I know you can point to the odd example of teams who break the mold, but a mid-table championship team's not going to win the FA Cup.
No,
we're not. We're not going to win the League Cup. We're not going to win the FA Cup. It's the domain of Premier League teams. It's just the way it is, really. I mean, there was Bradford's Cup run a few years ago where they got to the final of the League Cup and got beat off Swansea. Great for them, but they didn't win it.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a day out at Wembley, but I'd take a day out at Wembley in the playoffs because that's something that we could realistically win. But we can save the cup dreams for if and when we get back to the Premier League, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I won't complain if we do win games, but I'm not going to lose any sleep if we go out.
We've had our time to dare and to dream, and now is not really the time.
No.
One day it will come again, but not right now. Thank you very much.
Can I just quickly interject?
Oh yeah, be my guest.
I've been an advocate probably for as long as I've been on the channel, especially when we're in League One. I don't care about the cup at all. When we got knocked out the flipping Mansfield the past 2 times in the cup, I'm not bothered. Not what we need, but I don't know. I feel something a bit different. I mean, yeah, I do. I mean,
here he comes. Positive Ben's coming back out again, lads. Let's go.
Johnny. When it comes to club, I'm up here, right? When it comes to England, I'm off the camera. But I would love to see a little cup run. You give me quarterfinals, the Carabao Cup. I just think it would sort of cement of how far we've come. Probably.
Well, even last season, at the Emirates, we were up until
for a bit of time in that game we competed, and we
until the seal was broken. Really, even Broadhead's goal when we were 2-1 down, you still thought there is a flicker of hope in him.
Yeah.
Just to give a slight negative spin on that, though, that is a game where Broadhead got injured.
Yeah, but I mean, in context, that's terrible.
And it's easy to say that, like, there's 46 games minimum in a season. If you didn't get injured in that one, like, you could have got injured in the next one. Like, it is what it is. But just, I don't hope we go out. I just don't care if we do. Like, if we get knocked out,
I respect that.
Is what it is. Like, I won't lose any. We could put the worst performance in the world, and I would not care.
No,
even if we went down to Shrewsbury,
that's how we did for Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it? Like we lost, and no one really cared.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And that was on the telly, Sky. You're thinking, oh, here we go. Watch the lads.
Yeah.
That'll be it was gutting to sit down and waste 90 minutes.
If it wasn't on the telly, if it wasn't on the telly, no one would be bothered. But the fact, like, we got premium viewing for it.
It was awful.
But I
didn't even watch it. I was in Manchester.
I saw him play. I thought, no, there's no way this lad's going to play for Sunderland. And look where we are now.
Yeah, we did play like a second string team as possible there. But, if we go down to Shrewsbury and play a full strength 11 and get beat 3-0, water off a duck's back. Yeah. Might be singing a different tune on the day if that happens and we look absolutely dreadful. And I'm saying, what the bloody hell's going on here? But
come January, we'll just have to see how.
I don't think we need to worry about being on the telly, though. I don't think any broadcast is going to look at Sunderland, Shrewsbury on the list of draws, considering there's like Man City, Chelsea. There's Man United playing like.
Yeah, a couple of months.
Let's stick Sunderland, Shrewsbury because everyone wants to
BT Sport once put Port Vale Sunderland on the telly when there was better games out there.
What was that? Was it 1 or 2-0? I can't remember. I remember George Honeyman scored in 50 seconds or something?
Dark days. They were.
Yeah.
I think I must have watched that from my memory because I don't even remember that game existing. But I mean,
that's our only BT Sport appearance in 6 years.
Yeah, I remember we played Southampton in the cup on BT Sport though in the season where we got to the final in the Carabao Cup. Well, what was it then? Capital One.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think was it the cup? I can't remember. We played them in the cup that season. I've totally forgotten. I think Craig Gardner scored. If my memory's serving. Again,
we played Southampton at home at least 10 times that season. So it was like they were there every other week.
We had a weird run of games like that against Southampton because there was a couple of seasons in a row that every time we went away, we went 1-0 up and then they scored late on and then it ended at 1-1 for like 2 or 3 seasons in a row. I was like, is this what's going on? Like the 4 1-0s in a row against Man City at home.
Yeah.
Or 1-0s and a 2-1 or something. Anyway, sorry, that's just
Brian Bartley's that
5
was.
minutes there.
Absolutely, Brian Bartley's.
The intro with the lion on the side of the trophy.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. Yeah.
Prime Super Sunday.
With the little golden trails behind all the moving images in the little intro.
Anyways, back to the championship.
Oh, God. If you're going to say the word Millwall after what I've just been thinking about, right?
No, I'm slightly putting that off. Acacia Camera Jude's saying about the rearranged home game about Borough. If it's on Sky, which I'm guessing it is.
It has been selected for TV coverage.
Then we're losing and I'll cry. So
it's been moved to, what is it, 12:30 kickoff, I think? Is it 12:30 kickoff? I think it is, or like 12 o'clock. It's been moved early.
It must be.
Oh, yeah. Sky, why have you done that?
Well, they normally move if it's us against anyone remotely local, especially when it used to be the Mags. It would always be earlier kickoff, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Get moved for the telly.
12 p.m. There you go.
Yeah. That'll be I mean, you can just chalk that one down as a loss now, and we'll just move on.
Dear Lord, Sky. What a sad little life.
What a sad little life.
The only problem is you never back the early kickoff.
No, never back the early kickoff.
If you're a Sunderland fan and you're putting Sunderland on any of your bets anyway, you need a little shake to the head because if there's one thing you should have learned, it's that we're going to let you down. Like
rule one of football is the early kickoff will always let you down.
Yeah,
exactly.
So just don't bother. But
don't waste your hard-earned money.
Spend that on
something worthwhile, I think.
Gamble responsibly and drink responsibly. Gamble and drink
Just have a
responsibly.
drink instead. Oh, there you go.
When the fun stops, go for another half an hour and then stop.
Johnny Hawley's opinions
please
and
gamble
views do not
responsibly.
represent.
Our legal team's telling me in my head that I have to say, please gamble and drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got Matthew in our ear telling the speaking of being let down, Millwall's tomorrow.
Yay!
We're back at the
Early
start.
kickoffs on telly was that I hear us talking about. What a lovely segue.
Please don't remind me. So yes, we've got we're happily back. The championship's being brought back just for us. How special a way. It feels like ages ago since this game was actually supposed to be played. The fact that we're now finally getting it over and done with feels like the best time to do it, really, when things are starting to look more our way. Because when you think about when we were originally supposed to play them, we weren't in the best of situations, especially how we were only like 2 games into Stewart being injured.
Yeah.
So
and Sims was out as well.
Yeah.
I think, for the Millwall game, wasn't he? I mean, if it could have come one weekend later, then I think there would have been a lot more of a chance of Stewart being involved. Because personally, I don't see him even being in the squad.
No, I don't.
And
either.
if he is going to, I think he'll be on the bench. But it's like almost perfect timing, isn't it? Like they almost let us have him back, and they were like, "No, actually, play the game, and then you can have Stewart back."
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what Mowbray comes out with come tomorrow afternoon. But it's good to be back. All jokes aside, it is good to finally be back, seeing Sunderland play
some proper football.
Yes, proper EFL football again.
Oh yeah.
The kings of the championship, Millwall.
It's a bit of a vintage like Coca-Cola fixture, this, isn't it?
It is.
Proper like championship.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Like you just need who was it that Morrison who used to play for Millwall with the grey hair, and Lee Gregory. Just get them back in the Millwall team.
God, Lee Gregory.
I mean, he loves a game against Sunderland, doesn't he? But
he does.
But no, this is now. Ben, I'll come to you first. How do you see tomorrow unfolding?
I'm a bit worried, to be honest. I am, not the fact that it's the early kickoff, but Millwall, 9 games played, they've only lost 1 currently, and they're scoring a few goals as well. I mean, it all depends on the team sheet for me. If it's like similar to how it was against Birmingham, I might be a little bit worried. But the likes of, I don't know, with Ballard, is he any closer? Elise, these are all, I don't know. Obviously, Bailey Wright being away, Danny.
I think all of the injured players are at least back in training. I want to say.
Yeah, they're all back in training, but Ballard's still got a bit way to go. Yeah.
I think Elise, probably out of the 3 of them, is the one who's definitely not back. Yeah. I think. I'm pretty sure they said he'd be out after Christmas. Ballard, probably too soon. This is what I mean. Like, it's just this game is just too soon for everyone.
It's too soon for some of them, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're on a great bit of form at the minute. We've not been very good at home this season. We've got the 3rd worst home record in the league, which is not very good. And Millwall are currently picking up some points away from home. So it could be in the balance. It could be a 0-0. It could be a 3-all, goal fest. It could be like when we played Coventry, what was it, 5-4 or something? I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. Obviously, I've always tried to be the optimist. I think we can try and, I'd say we want to win, and I'd say we will win. My heart says we'll win, but my head says I think it'll be a tough game, and I think I'd probably take a draw with their run of form at the minute.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is. You can only beat what's in front of you. So the best we can really do is take it to them and just hope for the best. Really, like. Johnny, how do you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, I share the concerns. I think Ben put it, really well. We're a team who struggles at home and they pick up a lot of points away. You don't really have to look any further than that to see why it's a worry. But we've talked about the injured players who will, Billy Wright being away as well. So I think we're going to lack a bit of physicality at the back. I worry a little bit for the fullback positions. I think we've got Huggins, we've got Hume, we've got. I think Sirkin's fit, isn't he? I think
so.
But any of those three on their day can do a job and can put in a really good performance. But they're young lads, and they don't have the same experience that you'd maybe want from. Even like a Luke O'Nien at right back, like somebody with just that little bit more kind of game management experience and that little knowledge of when to go and when to sit and stuff like that. So I do think it could be, well, it will be a tough game, but I think it could end up being a bit of a drab performance from us, because part of the reason I think we play so well away from home is that teams have to come at us. Whereas when we're at home, we've spoken about it before, the onus is on us to take the game to them, which, it's a lot easier as an away side to sit in and just, keep your shape and be disciplined. And then all of a sudden, once we've stretched ourselves, then bang, you can go. Which, yeah, I don't think it suits us as a fixture. But having said that, we have looked like a very competitive side this season. And particularly our attacking options, even if the defenders aren't all back, our attacking options do look really healthy. We've got Roberts, Clark, Sims, Pritchard, Diallo, the big man. There's
interesting name.
There's the small matter of Ross Stewart to potentially be in the squad. I don't think he will, but even just seeing his name on the team sheet would be a boost for our lads and a bit of a, it would worry them. I think every team in the league will have sat up and taken notice of his start of the season. So
absolutely,
the potential is there for us to put in a really decent performance. And like I said, being the home team, we could really be aggressive and take the game to them and dominate the ball. Because I think we haven't done that enough over a whole game and dominate the ball and just really control the possession. But it's there. It's just whether we can get everything moving in the right direction tomorrow. So I am worried, but at the same time, it's not a must win. It's a game where I want to see us put in a shift and be competitive, but the result could go either way.
No, I'm fully with you on that. Out of interest, we were talking about the backline situation. What backline would you go for, Johnny, tomorrow?
Depending on who's fit, I think. We're potentially looking at O'Nien having to fill in at centre half, really, aren't we? With Wright,
no Elise, no Wright.
With Wright and Elise both, missing or injured. I think you're probably looking at something like Huggins, O'Nien, Bart, and Hume in some combination, or Sirkin for I can't remember whether he's fit to play or not. I could just be misremembering an injury, but I think if Sirkin's fit, he plays at left back, and then it's a toss up between Huggins and Hume at right back, and then O'Nien and Bart in the middle. And to be honest, I think the only room for manoeuvre there is the fullbacks. Maybe if Lyndon Gooch's pulls up well and he's fit, then you could make an argument for throwing him in at right back for a bit more physicality and a bit of, because he likes a graft and a battle, does Gooch, but especially
thought we'd be rooting for Gooch.
Yeah, I know from the start of the season, but that centre half partnership worries me.
No, I think most of us are with you. Ben, are you the same in that thought?
Yeah, this is the thing. Obviously, it's fab that Australia are doing so well, but Bailey Wright, obviously, he's had his critics while he's been here, but we've also sang his praises a number of times, and certainly when he plays, he does give 100%, and you could see that against Birmingham. He was doing that post-match interview. There was, blood everywhere on his head, like a right state. He puts in a shift and he plays for the badge. So, in a game like this against, probably a notoriously sort of rough and tough team that Millwall are, I'm a bit worried. I think it's one of them, isn't it? I think it would probably be O'Nien and Bart, I would assume, at centre halves. And to be honest, I do like Trey Hume, don't get me wrong. I think he's fab, but I just don't think this would be the game for him. So for me, I'd probably stick Gucci at right back, and then, Huggins, fair play to him, the way he's come back, played 90 minutes against Birmingham, and he put in a good shift, while there was so much excitement around him, at Leeds, certainly. So, I think it's a weird game, isn't it? Because we're the only ones playing. It's sort of like, it almost feels like a bit of a pre-season friendly in a way.
Yeah.
And it's in such a bubble because we don't have another game for a little bit again afterwards.
Exactly. So it's like just this one game where you think, can you take risks? Can you give players minutes that maybe need to get some more fitness? Will we see Stewart, for example? But, Gooch has just come, has just recovered from injury as well. So, we're saying about Mowbray, he's quite conservative with his selection sometimes. It wouldn't surprise me, but if we just don't know, we could look at that team sheet and Elise could be starting alongside Bart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just never know.
There haven't really been any concrete updates on players, have there? I think he's played it very cards close to the chest, and
that's the kind of manager he is, though.
Yeah, and
with Sims, all of his pre-match, press conferences and all of this is saying, is Sims going to play? He says, "Oh, no, I'm not. No, I don't think so. I don't think."
And then
so.
He rocks up when he's on the starting 11.
He's starting, yeah. So he plays us like a fiddle a little bit sometimes, Mowbray. But look, if the players are fit, chuck them in. I think even if they do have a little niggle, we've still got a week or so to prepare. Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I think Gooch, especially out of the ones who've had problems and have been coming back, I think he was out for the least amount of time, and I don't know why. This might just be a weird sort of assumption because he looks quite strong and like he's quite quick, but he seems like he'd be sort of the more resilient one to injuries out of the group. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like you could stick Gooch on and maybe give him, even if he only played 60 minutes. And I think he'd pull up quite well. Whereas if you chuck Stewart on from the start tomorrow, I could very easily see him breaking down again.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say though is, like we've just said there, Mowbray keeps you guessing, cards close to the chest. If we can't work out who's going to play, and we're literally on a Sunderland fan bloody live.
Yeah, we're on his side.
Yeah, and like we're that invested that we're literally sat here live streaming at 8:45 on a Friday night in the middle of the World Cup, right? If we can't tell what's going on, there's no bloody way Millwall know who's going to play. So
how sad did that just make it sound there, John?
Yeah, you're really putting us in a good light there.
I know how to make us sound cool, boys. Don't worry.
Oh, you do.
Just to add fuel to the fire, quick little World Cup update. Actually, I just want to let everyone know that Bruno Guimaraes has just missed an absolute fucking sitter, and he's just made one of the most pointless fouls in the world, and he's been booked for it. So let's, light at the end of the tunnel. We've got to take the little victories. Ben, stop laughing at me.
That'll show them. That'll show them.
Yeah,
in the Premier
that'll
League.
prove them right. Yeah.
But no, on a serious note, though, aside from the fact that we're all nerds, like if we can't even tell what's going on with the team from a game-to-game basis, there's no way the opposition managers and coaches can. Probably there is definitely like a slight psychological, advantage element there where on any given day Mowbray can spring a surprise.
That's a novelty of it, though.
Yeah, but like rather than being a sort of predictable team where you pitch up every week and the opposition manager goes, well, we know who's going to play, so you get on him and you get on him and we'll nullify him. I think we're not a predictable side, so small positives, but I'd like to not have that issue because I'd like to have a settled team when people don't get injured every week. Yeah. Like that would be great if we could just have that.
That would actually be unreal.
Would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we can dream, eh?
No, I think you say about that like unpredictability. I think that's what gives it its money's worth because like we don't know what's gonna happen, so it just makes it all the more exciting. And you're not like we've gone from going to like Lincoln away and going, oh, we're gonna play an absolute rotter here to we're going up against favourites to win the league in Burnley. We're like we didn't know, even we couldn't imagine that. Like win or lose, it's just all part of the surprise, all part of the package.
It's not boring, isn't it? It's not boring.
Oh no, there's never a dull moment here at Sunderland AFC these days, and that's why if you haven't subscribed already, stick with us for the novelty and expert
subscribe
opinions
now
from the Mustache Man. Expert analysis and expert tashes is the new slogan of the channel. It's I believe it's absolutely free and it doesn't cost a penny, as a wise man once said. So there you do go. Should we roll off some stats for the Millwall game? It feels like forever since I've had the pleasure.
Your doorbell's just gone. Give us a sec.
The standards of professionalism in this outfit have gone down the bloody drain.
We take a month off basically, and this is what we become.
Yeah, I'm sorry, people, that you come back to this shambles. I mean, what's
if there was ever a time for us to plug the channel and then for something bad to happen, it would be now.
Oh yeah.
So Michael's put it the best. The three.
Well, it's the two amigos right now because we're being abandoned for a doorbell. But I mean,
should we plug Durham while we're here?
Oh, I mean, it's Durham. Go and visit Durham, guys. Give Durham more of your money so he gets a better.
If you think Sunderland's great, you should go to Durham. Just got a TGI Fridays. What about that?
They'll have electricity and running water soon. Get yourselves there now while it's still cheap.
Oh, good God. What's he gone for? He could have at least left us the dog. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it would have been a better co-host than him anyway.
We're on a live broadcast. While we're here, what's your prediction for the game?
It is tough to call. I think realistically, going with my head, I'm going to say 2-1 to Millwall. I back us to have enough to get a goal, but I think they'll, especially with how makeshift the back four is probably going to look, which, to be honest, I hadn't really thought of until we started discussing it.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned about like Bailey Wright being away and Elise not being back in us, I was thinking like that is actually a bit of an issue. I think they'll have a bit too much for us, but I think it'll be a decent game. I think we'll be in it. It won't be a walkover, but here he is.
The walk of shame.
He is.
The walk of shame.
Amazon delivering it this time.
Dedicated.
Oh yeah, it's
the shorts turned up. If you want to get on the stream, you can just drop us a message.
You just have to ask. You don't have to do the hardware.
I know.
The professionalism, like I say, subscribe. Like, why wouldn't you after that display? Why
drop
wouldn't
a donation just for the sheer levels of professionalism?
So Ben can get his Amazon money back.
Drop a donation so the channel can afford to
recruit
some actually good presenters. Women.
I don't want to interrupt your soppy moment here, but Cameroon are 1-0 up against Brazil with in added time.
Special moments for Cameroon there.
So if we just have a quick look at the table, please, because I want to know what that looks like. I think Switzerland still go through.
Cameroon are out, I think, regardless, aren't they?
No, they could. I think if the other game draw, Cameroon can still go through. Yeah, because they're because Switzerland are winning.
Yeah.
But right. Still, that's a massive result. That if they still pull it off,
yeah, that is
absolute joke. Right, back on to Sunderland, back on to Millwall. The stats. Well, this isn't a stat, but I just like to point out the fact that Benik Afobe still plays football, and he's currently injured, so we don't have to watch him inevitably score a hat-trick tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before lunchtime, it's what you want to see. But thank God for that. But that being said, Is it Zion Fleming or Zion Fleming? Their number 10. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but he's got 8 goals this season, so he'll definitely be a threat going forward.
Corey Evans will have a job on his hands if he's playing there. Try and keep that gap between the midfield and defence quite tight.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting task for him. But you got to have faith because Corey has had a good run so far this season. And if he dares to shoot from outside the box again, I can guarantee it's going in. It will go in at some point. It has to.
Just like that one time Lee Cattermole scored a banger against West Brom and then never did anything for the rest of his career.
Yeah. I was there when Cattermole scored. Get that on a t-shirt.
Hey! I tell you, if you were talking about things like that, the last time I think I must have been about 6 or 7 years old. I can't remember, but my dad thought it would be a good idea to take me away to Millwall. So me and my dad, I was only about 7 or 8. Something like that. Went to Millwall.
Family day out.
Oh yeah, well for me dad it was, yeah. But, I can't remember much about the game. Only 2 things. First thing was obviously what our fans are like, a bit of this, and their fans were a little bit, they started ripping their own chairs out and chucking them in the away end.
Nice.
Only Millwall would do that, wreck their own stadium. And then the second
There's a bit of character to the place.
Yeah, probably, isn't it? And then the second thing was John Stead scored.
Oh, what a name that is! Where have you just pulled that from?
Exactly. We lost 3-1, and I think it was about the 90th minute, and he scored like a tap-in. It was him and Stephen Elliott up front. This is just,
That has made my day. The fact that you reminded me of the existence of John Stead.
Who else? Blimey. So
when would that have been? Like 2005 sort of time?
This really proves my age when the only game I've seen John Stead play a Sunderland game was the Bradford game. Yeah, that really proves my age that's what I know John Stead
that team back in the day though, was it like Gary Breen was playing at centre?
Yeah, Gary Breen. Who else?
Liam Lawrence, Chris Brown,
Bill Babb.
Liam Lawrence on the wing.
Liam Lawrence. Oh.
Yeah. Would Julio still been there when he left? Julio? Don't know if we had Kelvin Davis by that point, or was it still Mark Poom?
I think we're Poom.
The Poominator.
I saw John Stead score, so I think that probably...
Has Carlos Edwards played for us at this point?
No, that was 2006.
Yeah. You're just a band dom. You're not on Johnny and I.
Yeah, our man. Get with the times.
Sorry. Lads.
Some of us got FIFA 2005 on release. All right, yeah.
I really doubt. I really doubt 2-year-old me would be wandering into game buying FIFA 05 like.
Well, you missed out. You missed out.
You did.
Honestly,
Someone's championship winning team.
I just get abuse for being the young'un. Finn's younger than me. Dan's younger. Matthew's younger than me.
None of those are here. I don't see anyone else. I don't see anyone else at Target. Just you.
Well, because I'm the only one under 20 in this stream.
Yeah. Some of us have Zimmer frames and creak when we get out of bed, mate.
No, that's just living in Leeds for 3 hours.
Oh God. Sometimes I forget that's where I am.
Sorry, I just had to get that under there. All right, finally getting on these stats. 6th versus 15th. Only 4 points separating the two. Like we said earlier in the stream, we could go as high as 10th if we end up winners. Both games.
Sorry to interrupt you. How high will we go if we win, like full stop? Because we're the only ones playing. So I'm assuming it'll depend a bit on if we score like however many goals. But if we win, let me see. We're on 27 points. So if we win, we will guaranteed go 10th because our goal difference is better than Luton. Then we'd be on the same. Oh, nice one.
Let's hope that everybody else loses when it finally comes back to full championship.
Well, no, because this is
round.
us getting. So we've got a game in hand on everyone. Well, I mean, we've got a game in hand on nearly everyone.
It's our catch-up.
Yeah, there's only Coventry who've played a game less than us.
Yeah, well, that's if they had a ground, you know.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Someone decided to let the monster trucks have a bit go on the pitch. So,
well, it's better than seeing the sort of football they play like. So
it's not exactly the Ed Sheeran trophy now, is it? So, so stick that one in your cabinet, Coventry, eh? The domestic double of Elton John and Ed Sheeran.
We only like musical artists whose name begins with E. That's it.
And Pink. Like, Pink comes round here like every other 5 years. So shout out Pink. She loves the lads. What have we become? We're so professional. Here's a good stat, actually. We're talking about proving my age. We've only beaten Millwall once since the day I was born. What year was it?
Wait, sorry, repeat that, will you?
I was
distracted.
Shocking. Millwall have only lost to Sunderland once since I've been born. What year was it?
Well, it wasn't the year that Ben went to his game because he's told us that we got beat 3-1. So it's not that.
This was at home as well, so.
Well, we beat them.
Yes.
07?
04. October 2004. 1-0 win.
I thought it would be that season, but I didn't know if it was 04 or 05, and I was too cowardly to guess.
So, yeah, there's a good stat for you.
Well, who scored, and do you know who they are?
I have written down who it was.
You don't know who it is?
Say the names. Say the names.
Come on. Who is it?
It's called Kevin. I can't even read my own name.
He's called
Kevin Muscat.
Oh, Muscat. Kevin Muscat for Millwall.
For a minute.
Don't mention that name to Neil Warnock. He'll have your head. That's for Muscat, that is.
That's a fucking Muscat.
If you haven't seen it, out of context, Neil Warnock on Twitter, get on it. It's great.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks to a goal to Kevin Muscat, that's the only Sunderland victory against Millwall since 2003. So, there you go.
That must have been an own goal. He never played for us.
Well, it didn't say own goal, so it just. I'm guessing.
I'm going to fact check you here.
Yeah, you fact check that. Hey, don't blame me. Blame the source. You know.
Well, as far as I'm aware, there's only one source. Continue with your next one while I fact check you.
I can sleep at night knowing this, but yeah. I'm just lying away.
Record versus Millwall. Let's go.
All 5 viewers are just sitting anticipating.
If we've got any viewers at 2 hours into this,
if you're still watching this, I'm so sorry.
To be honest, if you're still watching this, I think we should donate to you because you clearly need some.
All right, no, that's too far. That's too far. I'm living on student loans here. That's not happening.
Oh God! Back in the day, to be honest, I had a better standard living when I was on student loan than mine having a job. If my employee's watching that, I didn't mean it.
It was a joke. Ha ha.
Come on! Oh, I just want to see the past meetings.
No, my uni life is great. I'll have you know. If University of Sunderland, if you're watching this, thank you for the opportunity to meet Keith Downey and go watch
That's the last time anyone's ever been thankful to meet Keith Downey.
He drove here safe. You'll be happy to know. And yeah, I got front row seats of Alex Bass, the hand of COD. Let's put it that way.
Hand of God.
How long is this taking a fact check, Johnny?
Oh, blimey, Johnny, man.
Well, we played them twice in 2004, so it's bringing up the wrong one.
October.
I know that. It's bringing up the FA Cup game, man.
Oh,
right, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Muscat 72 minutes. Oh, gee, I told you. I bloody told you.
No wonder Well, then I can be let off for not knowing who he was because he's never played for Sunderland.
He knows now, this lad, man. He knows now.
I'm young, Reese. I'm a young'un.
We're not that. We're not. I'll tell you what, you can tell that nobody enjoyed this game because like every website I click on, there's not even like a lineups, there's not a match summary, there's nothing. There's just a scoreline.
That's prime English football, that.
Mark Poom in goal, George McCartney at fullback.
Oh yeah, blimey.
Oh, Jeff Whitley in midfield. No.
Blimey.
Oh, Chris Brown up front. It was that long ago there were only 3 subs on the bench. Bloody hell, times have changed.
Oh dear.
I'll tell you what, notable names on their team that day, and Mr. Dennis Wise in midfield.
He's a very little man.
He's a very little man.
Very little man.
Dennis
Wise. Yeah. Blimey.
Is that the only of the memorable names you want to check out there, John?
Well, it says Paul Robinson, but I don't think it's the England keeper.
Paul Robinson.
I think it's an outfielder, Paul Robinson. So I thought that I got excited for a second there, but I might have gone a bit early. You know, I might have gone a bit early doors.
We've all been there. On that bombshell. While you were gone, Ben, we were doing predictions. What's your score for tomorrow?
Do you want me head or me heart one?
I want. Give us both. I'm feeling greedy.
Me heart, I'd say 3-1, and me head, I'll go 2-2.
How come Ben's been dead pessimistic about everything? And his prediction from the head is a draw, and mine was a loss. What's going on here? Oh, I tell you what,
it'd be a tight one, I think.
You know a guy.
Although, sorry,
it is going to be tight though. I think you're bang on there.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as 2-2. I'm gonna throw a 1-1 draw there.
1-1.
I think it's gonna be one of those games.
I'd be very happy to see either of your results. Like I'd take a draw.
A point's a point.
A point's a point. I think we'll get beat. The head speaking, I think it'll be tight, but I think they'll edge it. So I'm saying 2-1.
I don't think you're out of your depths thinking that.
No. But to be honest, it's one of them, and I feel like I say this a lot, but like it's one of them where you could see any result really. Like it's not like the games we'd go into in League One where there were some teams where you'd look and just be like, well, we have to beat them. Like anything other than a win is kind of unacceptable. This game, it's like I could see them winning. We've got enough in the tank to beat them, but it's gonna be tight.
That is.
No, absolutely. Well, on that bombshell, after what feels like the best 2 hours of my entire life.
I wonder if the viewers will agree.
It is. We have viewers. Anyway.
We have friends and family we tell to watch.
You could have told me. Hi, Ben's dad.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I can't even say hi, Dad, because mine won't be watching.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, bless you. Anyways, thank you all 5 of you, for tuning in the whole way. If you made it from start to finish,
seek immediate help.
I salute you.
Because well, it's people have probably missed it. It's been
well, you know what we've done. Yeah, we've made up for lost time.
We've made up for lost time.
We've got to give the people what they want. We're entertainers at the end of the day, lads. All right.
Well, they wanted Sean and Matthew, so we gave them.
Anyone who wanted Sean and Matthew.
They wanted Sean, Matthew,
we're the originals
Gary.
now. We're the OGs.
Yeah, we're the OGs. Get used to it. All right.
Oh, dearie me. What
I'll tell you what, Don. There's a highlight reel at the end of this season. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Even this year, it's going to be about 10 minutes long, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
You've got a lot of watching to do before the end of the year, lad.
Don't worry, I've been keeping count since the beginning.
I'll outsource it to Finley. Just tell him to look through it all and get all the highlights for you.
Finn, I'm so sorry about. I'm not, because we're funny as out, but also I'm so sorry. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in to Fans React Friday. It's good to be back.
It is.
It certainly is.
Hopefully, in the early kickoff, we'll finally go our way. and
fingers crossed.
bring some points back from the only game in the Championship. And what's our next game after this? Hull away, I think.
I know we've got Hull and West Brom, I think. Is it West Brom that we've got fairly soon? Because there's not many teams left that we haven't played.
Yeah, so it is West Brom and Hull.
So come the 12th of December, hopefully we can have a few more points than we do right now to build upon. But like we said, thank you very much for watching. I'd love to say we'll be back next week, but you just never know with us, do we? So,
we can try.
You'll just have to wait and see. No fake promises. But
yeah, exactly. You get what you see, and you see what you get. All right.
Exactly. So, thank you firstly, you boys, for taking 2 hours of your life.
Pleasure as always.
And we'll see you all later. Take care of yourself and each other, and we'll see you next time. Take
Catch
care.
you on the flip side, boys.
Away the lads.
Well.